Douglas?
It's astounding, the similarities between Trump and Nixon. When Max and I started out in our careers as historians, it was a natural assumption that Ronald Reagan was the defining Republican figure, that Nixon was kind of on the ash heap of history. He got driven out of the White House in 1974, resigning in disgrace, never really able to rehabilitate himself. But Donald Trump seems to be a student of Richard Nixon, operating in devious ways, trying to destroy the press. I once wrote a biography of Walter Cronkite, and you would not believe what Nixon tried to do to Cronkite's life: infiltrate CBS, put plants into rallies to get CBS to turn it into a false news story, just shenanigans like we've learned about Nixon at Watergate or the Brookings Institute. Most people saw that Nixon's what you don't do in politics. Trump is a child of Nixon. He saw Nixon as the guy who not only won in 1968 and beat the liberals, but won in 1972 in the biggest landslide in American history over George McGovern. So I promise you, when you're looking at 2020, Donald Trump's again looking at how Nixon did it in 1972, because he doesn't have a historical mind, Trump, but he has a memory of his own lifetime. And he wants to turn the Democratic Party to a hard left candidate like McGovern was, and use issues like abortion, women's rights, demonize the Me Too movement and, civil rights, very much taking a page out of the Nixon playbook.
And I think actually, Trump is worse than Nixon, because Nixon had compensating virtues, that he was a foreign policy virtuoso, and in domestic policy, he was actually fairly liberal. I mean, he started the EPA, he started OSHA, he did a lot of good things. And with Trump, it's hard to see what are the countervailing virtues for all of this villainy, which is in plain sight.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you guys, thank you. And I got to say, don't miss the new CNN original series, Tricky Dick. The series premieres Sunday at 9. I can't wait to see this. Sunday at 9, Tricky Dick. Ever wonder what the president does during his vacations at Mar-a-Lago? Anybody? No. Who he talks to, what they talk about? We're going to discuss next.
Fit Me Foundation from Macon, New York.